The injuries were far too clean, almost surgical, lacking the excessive blood typically associated with a wild animal feeding. There was also a strong odor lingering in the air. The geographic details are real. The valley, the church, the community park, the NC 194 roadway. Every element exists, and that reality is precisely what makes this case so disturbing and at times deeply unsettling. Tonight, the Haunted Archives take us once again to one of the darkest, most unsettling places in the world. A real place, one that exists on the map, and one that, in recent months, has begun to stir fear once again. Vale Crucis is a place anyone can locate on a map, just as easily as they can now find the reports, the news, and the records that have begun surfacing with increasing frequency. A valley long rumored to be haunted has suddenly become the center of a sequence of events that are growing harder to ignore. A good portion of the local population claims they've suffered attacks by a large black animal, repeatedly described as an unnaturally large dog. According to these accounts, the creature chases cars along rural back roads, tears through entire herds, and spreads fear among residents, tourists, and hunters throughout the region. The case has already drawn the attention of authorities and curious outsiders. But as we began digging through old case files, forgotten newspapers, and overlooked accounts, one thing became clear to us at Haunted Archives. These stories are not new. Vale Crucis, North Carolina. High in the Appalachian Mountains, there is a place where the mist seems almost alive. It is here that three small streams meet, forming a perfect cross, the point from which the valley drew its quietly mystical name. At the center of this valley stands the Holy Cross Episcopal Church, a small, old stone church resting at the heart of that crossing. Just beside it lies the local cemetery, marked by crooked headstones, some broken, others worn down by time, many nearly swallowed by moss. The geographic details are real. The valley, the church, the community park, the NC 194 roadway. Every element exists, and that reality is precisely what makes this case so disturbing and at times deeply unsettling. Some stories are born from accidents, others from conversations around a fire, some even from fear, raw, simple, and without foundation. But then there are stories like this one, shaped by records, official bulletins, nighttime reports, scattered witness accounts, and a chain of events that together formed something nearly impossible. A pattern connecting the road, the water, and fear. And every account, whether from residents, hunters, or tourists, begins the same way, with strange sounds in the early hours of the morning, with household dogs and livestock growing restless, and with cars returning home scratched and damaged, as if something had tried to force its way inside them, always while driving along NC 194 in rural North Carolina. Those who pass by Holy Cross at night, whether locals or visitors, say it is possible to notice details few others do if they look closely enough and allow themselves to question whether what they are seeing is truly normal. Small stones that seem to defy gravity near the cemetery gate, deep and unfamiliar marks carved into the gravel, and a wooden cross that residents have removed multiple times, only to find it standing in the exact same spot again the following morning. As we investigate the region, it feels as though the village itself avoids speaking too openly about the subject, as if the residents understand that disturbing these signs is a way of awakening something that prefers silence. One of the most recent reports took place along a rural stretch of NC 194 between Valle Crucis and Boone. It is a narrow road lined with wooden fences and trees that bend over the asphalt, forming what feels like a natural tunnel. On the night of the incident, 2 men were returning from a repair job at a local farm, tools loaded in the back seat of their pickup truck. According to Earl, it was already past 11:00 p.m. when the local radio station, playing Carolina by the band Parmalee, suddenly lost its signal and dissolved into static at the exact moment both men noticed a smell of hot iron or something metallic they could not immediately identify. The driver was none other than Earl Jenkins, a retired mechanic and well-known resident of the area for over 30 years, who slowed down and pulled over, insisting that amid everything else, he also heard the sound of galloping alongside the truck as he reduced speed and came to a stop along the left shoulder of the road. The following morning, near the same spot where Earl and his companion had stopped, the son of a local farmer discovered 3 sheep and a calf brutally killed, their bodies torn apart while the surrounding fence remained completely intact. The local newspaper, the Watauga Democrat, recorded the incident as an unknown animal attack, suggesting coyotes, while simultaneously acknowledging the unusual nature of the wounds observed at the scene. Because this explanation came from official sources, even local residents found it difficult to accept. The injuries were far too clean, almost surgical, lacking the excessive blood typically associated with a wild animal feeding. There was also a strong odor lingering in the air: iron, rain, and something sour, as though the blood had spoiled faster than expected, despite the absence of significant blood at the site. As is customary in the region, the family lit a white candle at the entrance to the property, an old tradition said to protect the home when the so-called water crosses become restless. But what exactly are these crosses of water? 3 days later, Earl Jenkins was driving down the same road again, at roughly the same hour, this time alone. Just after the curve near the community church, a pair of red lights appeared ahead of the truck at hood level. From a distance, Jenkins assumed it was another vehicle, until the lights began to rise, leaving him in complete shock. A black creature, roughly the size of a horse, leapt directly in front of the pickup. Earl slammed on the brakes, sending the truck skidding across the gravel as the animal ran alongside the driver's side, scratching the metal and even biting into the vehicle, according to the retired mechanic. In his account, he describes the noise as deafening. The windshield wiper was torn away. The roof caved in with a blunt, heavy impact, as if something enormous had dropped onto the truck from above. And when he finally managed to accelerate and glance into the rearview mirror, the red eyes were still there, perfectly still, like a pair of glowing embers suspended in the darkness. Then, suddenly, the creature vanished, as if it had simply closed its eyes, disappearing precisely at the bridge where the streams intersect. The significance of crossing that water, however, only became clear to Jenkins later that night during the early morning hours as he listened to Sheriff Len Hageman Jr. review his official statement. According to multiple reports submitted by residents and tourists to Watauga County authorities, every description points to something unmistakably canine, yet grotesquely oversized. The high-set back, rigid neck, and reddish saliva recovered from the truck's exterior further suggest that the animal does not match any known species. Tests conducted by local technicians from the Watauga County Sheriff's Office detected biological material with no genetic match, a finding that remains officially classified as inconclusive. According to an anonymous source within the department, one line in the report stands out in particular. The sample was labeled as contaminated, of unknown origin. Since then, the area has seen increased surveillance efforts, including advanced monitoring technology, night vision cameras, infrared systems, and unofficial patrols. Even so, no clear footage or definitive image of the creature has ever surfaced, or at least none that has been released, leaving the case officially unresolved. As the mystical nature of the case spread throughout the region, longtime residents eventually began to speak more openly about it. According to them, the cross formed by the rivers has always been regarded as a boundary. But a boundary between what, exactly? One local pastor, whose name does not appear even in oral accounts, reportedly referred to the site as the marker between the blessed and the cursed. That detail became even more significant when nearly every account began pointing to the same pattern. The creature's pursuit always ended shortly after the survivor crossed the bridge at that location. When the reports are examined together, the pattern becomes difficult to dismiss. As the dog closes in during a chase and approaches the bridge, it simply vanishes, leaving no trace behind, as if the valley itself somehow repels anything that does not belong to its original blessing. Over the past 10 years, according to community accounts, multiple Watauga County authorities, led by Sheriff Len Hageman Jr., have responded to numerous nighttime calls near Holy Cross Church and along NC 194. Although none of these official records explicitly mention demonic dogs, consistent reports continue to surface describing anomalous sounds, unusual lights, disturbances on rural properties near the cemetery, and the periodic slaughter of livestock. Everything surrounding this case, from Reddit posts to long-standing local stories, suggests that the legend has circulated in the area since the late 19th century. Community records even draw parallels to the infamous Beast of Gévaudan, which terrorized parts of France around 1764, a case historically associated with the figure of Jean Chastel. Gévaudan became known for horseback pursuits, missing herds, and bodies discovered in forest clearings, often near crosses, a detail that further reinforces the mystical parallels. In some local versions, the dog appears blurred, as if shrouded in a veil. Others claim the entity is a guardian of the church grounds, an ancient presence tasked with watching over a threshold, leading to something profane still believed to linger in the Appalachian region. Those who claim to have encountered the infamous demonic dog end up reporting recurring symptoms such as ringing in the ears, insomnia, loss of appetite, and a strong odor inside the vehicle, which they say is a smell that clings to the skin. One Reddit account, posted by a woman identified as Angela Marie Draper, gained widespread attention in 2024 after she claimed she could prove the creature's existence. According to Angela, she and a group of friends traveled into the mountains to perform and document a Wiccan ritual, and unexpectedly captured footage of the entire event, including the appearance of the creature that allegedly attacked them. The account remained online for roughly 2 months before being removed by the platform. During that time, it accumulated more than 7 million views until it vanished overnight. Draper then disappeared from social media entirely and has not responded even to phone calls from friends once considered close, which, at least in our assessment, only makes the situation more suspicious. As for the vehicles attacked by the creature along the road, reports suggest that the paint on the damaged body panels begins to deteriorate just days after repairs are completed. Bubbles form, grayish stains spread, until the paint nearly vanishes altogether, leaving only the original dents and scratches inflicted during the attack. To this day, the distant and monotonous valley of Valle Crucis, North Carolina, cut through by NC 194, remains exactly where it has always been. Resistant to modern life and the pace of major cities, the town continues to exist in a simple, almost mystical way, sustained by its local culture, its deeply rooted folklore, and of course, the dark stories tied to the Appalachian Mountains. The valley bears a name of blessing, but at night, they say, that blessing becomes a boundary between the sacred and the profane, between the world of the living and that of those who still wander. Domestic dogs bark at nothing. Animals grow frantic. Milk spoils. People vanish. Do you truly believe that spirits walk freely after nightfall in that place? Leave a comment below. Do you know this location that many call the birthplace of the supernatural? If you have heard of similar cases, or possess information that could help expand our investigation, send us an email and assist in documenting these accounts based on real events. And if you have traveled through the Appalachian Mountains and passed through Valle Crucis at night, share your experience with us or your warning. Until the next Haunted Archives.